Sabecico, what, fist up today! Fist up today! Oh, fins up, baby! Miami, stand up! This is Fins Talk today! Let's go! Sun up over day, game day on the brain, from the tailgate smoke to the hard count rain. Orange aqua on my back, crowd shaking every seat. We talking ball, talking heat, turn it up, feel that beat. Fins talk today, Fins talk today. Fins up all day from the 305, we ride that way. Bobby Fins talk, Fins Sammy on the way. Miami, vamos, it's Fins talk today. Hey, 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 it's Fins talk today. Who you reppin'? Who you riding? Miami, who you riding? Dolphins, we break it down, break it live, every snap, every drive. Hey, Fins talk today. Fins up all day from the 305, we ride that way. Fins talk, Fins Sammy on the way. Miami, vamos, vamos, it's Fins talk today. Hey, 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 Fins talk today.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition. Obviously, the flagship show. I would say a Thursday night edition, but it's always Thursday night because when it's Thursday night, it's time for Fins Talk today. The flagship. What is up, everybody? I'm Bobby Fins Talk. As you notice, I got the ring. We are getting closer. What are we? 59 days away. 59 days away from the start of beautiful football once again. Dolphins football. But before we get to that, time to talk some Dolphins offseason. Continue to talk Dolphins offseason with an awesome topic today, I think. I think it's going to be a fun one to discuss. Before we get into it, let's welcome my partner in crime. Woo! Fins Sammy of Fins TV.
Baby. You know, it's Fins Talk today. Thursday night, 8 p.m. Yeah, the flagship. You know, it's time for the flagship. FDSN and Fins TV. Fins Talk today, babe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My God. It's just been a crazy day for Miami fans, Miami sports fans, right? Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bobby Portis. When I hear the Miami fans saying Bobby, I kind of, I hear you. But it's not,
Finally, you love me. They love me. They really love me.
But of course, talking about Bobby Portis, I thought that was done because when they would scream Bobby for Bobrovsky for the Florida Panthers goalie, I would be like, yes, they're talking about me. And then now Bob's gone, and here comes Bobby Portis, and I'm excited. But don't worry, honorable mention Bobby is here for Fins Talk today to talk some Dolphins. Because Sammy, you bring up a good point. We were discussing it earlier on the phone. It's like, hey, just the these type of fun topics. But sooner rather than later, we're going to be actually talking some Dolphins football soon.
Close.
Camp is coming up, preseason around the corner. August is right there, and so I'm excited. My man, before we get into how are you, brother?
They're doing great. Exactly. We talk about it during the afternoon during a phone call. Basically, the season is September 8th. It's still a while for the season, but once training camp starts, it's on, baby. Basically, we're on. We're in football mode. Basically, football takes over and Dolphins talks takes over, and basically, we're going to have a lot to talk about because this training camp, we're going to have some interesting battles. A lot of players have to perform, and that's why we're going to talk about who's under the most pressure, top 10 under the most pressure for the Dolphins, because a lot of people are under pressure, but we're going to talk about who's the top 10 under the most pressure.
And look, you don't know how many times I live near Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm in Franklin, Tennessee, which is about 25 minutes outside of Nashville. And so we got the Tennessee Titan fans, and everybody knows me though, because I wear Dolphin colors. I've got Dolphin shoes. I've got Dolphins gear. I wear all my
represent.
But they know Bobby is the Dolphins fan. I go by many different names in Nashville. Whether it's Rocky. I've gotten called Rocky before, because I wear a fedora during the winter, and it's a black fedora. So they Rocky Balboa, yo. And it's like, I just take the name. All right, yo, Adrian, yo. But really, the fedora is not really for Rocky. It's because I grew up watching Archie Bunker, and I always thought it was cool. He'd come home with the hat and put the hat up and have two chairs like Archie and Edith. That's where that comes from. But I'll take the Rocky. The other name is Tua. Hey, Tua, how the Dolphins doing?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I always got called to it. So you just go with the flow there. But I'm getting asked lately to go, kind of like what we're talking about on the show. Hey man, what's going on with the Dolphins this year? Like, what do you think, man? Could they do it? What do you think? And I keep saying it. I have zero expectations for the Miami Dolphins. And you want to know what? I feel pretty damn good about it. I feel pretty good not having my hopes up. And the more I don't have my hopes up, the more excited I get about this coming season, Sam. The more we say there's no expectations, the more excited I get, because all we can go is up. If we suck, we were going to suck anyway. What's the shocker? We're continuing to clean house. Whatever the bad laundry is, throw that shit out, donate it to Goodwill, and move on. Get some brand new clothes. Go to Target, get yourself some new shit. Get new stuff. Excuse me. But if we're good, if we're great, then wow, what an awesome situation. I had no expectation. This beyond expectations. It's awesome. As the saying would go on Finn's TV, at least we all have each other. That's what this slogan for the Dolphins season should be for fans, right, Sammy?
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
But even though there's zero expectations for this Miami Dolphins football team as a whole, there are plenty of players who've got the eye on them, who's got pressure. They're facing pressure this year because we've talked about it. First off, we talk about the guys that could be on the outs. They could be on the hot seat. We're not really saying that, any coaches really are going to be the hot seat this year. We don't expect Jeff Hafley to be Cam Cameron, a total bust. But what we do expect is some players to be on the hot seat. We talked about them, right? We've talked about Zach Steeler after signing a deal and being a ghost last year. Could he be on the hot seat? He's facing some pressure this year. Austin Jackson, who can't seem to stay healthy, and when he's healthy, he doesn't play his best ball. He's definitely on the hot seat. Chop Robinson, we talked about him plenty, whether it's going to be a breakout player or a player who is going to be out the door after next year if he doesn't live up to that first-round pick. So even though Miami has zero expectations this season coming up, there's plenty of players worth mentioning that are going to be under pressure in their roles. Now, we're going to discuss the top 10 players under the most pressure for this season coming up. Starting first with a guy Sammy has brought up time and time again. And, is it a guy who's been with the Dolphins for many years or even a season? No, he just got signed. He's taking over a role that many guys have taken since Dan Marino stepped down. He's a guy that fills a very long list. Like if Santa Claus got your good list, bad list, who's the bad kid, who's the good kid? I mean, there's a ton of them. He's just the latest name to end up on the list. But he has maybe the most pressure going into this season. And that's Malik Willis. Everything, and especially our offense, is going to revolve around Malik Willis and what he can do. John Eric Sullivan and Coach Hafley have decided when they got this job and they knew that the quarterback position was the most talked about, eagle-eyed, bullseye topic with the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphin fans wanted a change. Don't let the two-and-ons fool you. They had to hang on that hat. They had to pretend they still wanted him as the quarterback. They wanted his ass gone. Everybody wanted Tua gone. So John Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley, even coming out of Green Bay, knew, shit, we got to make a change. So they looked around the league. They scoured around the league, and they talked to each other before they got the job and when they took the job. And they said, we're going with Malik Willis. He's the guy. He's the guy that is going to be our franchise quarterback to start and to get us rolling in our first season as the lead dogs in Miami. So he, right now, at least with this list, number one with the most pressure. Sammy, you were kind of the one who really kind of started hammering this point home, talk about, do you think it's deserving for Malik Willis to be the number one under the most pressure off the Dolphins roster?
Just because of the position, the quarterback is always the one with the most pressure. See, if you don't set up, you don't have Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. And even when you had Peyton Manning, crap, I lost power, so I'm gonna be here in a couple of minutes if that doesn't. So you might have to do the show alone. So I might have 15 minutes if the power doesn't come back. So we have to wait and see. I'll go back. I'll go into mobile probably. I'll be
no
mobile.
problem, bro. You take your time.
Take your time. Let's see how much the power raise. So when you had the quarterback, even with Peyton Manning didn't want the big one, the Peyton Manning had a bullseye because he was the quarterback. He's the most important position in all sports, probably. The quarterback is the leader of the team, the captain of the team is the man. So he comes here, with Sullivan and Hafley knowing what he can do. The expectation is there. He got not great starting money, but awesome backup quarterback money. So the salary is not the problem here. But the expectation is there, and that was the most important position the Dolphins had to address. Sullivan and Hafley could have kept Quinn Ewers and basically say, let's see what happens. Let's stand with Ewers this year. And if he doesn't, we have no attachment. If it doesn't work, we're going to move on. But they went all in on Malik Willis. They went all in on him. So they had the responsibility on him because, that's their assessment. That's the guy they went for. So, and I said it before, Willis has to be the quarterback. Like you said, I said it so many times. Willis has to be the quarterback to be, he has to be, kept to the same standard that Tua did. Tua was not enough to carry the team. That's the bottom line. He failed. He was not the quarterback. He needed to move on. If you're not good enough to carry your team, you're not the guy. So that's what it has to be taken to the same standard as Tua did. So it's unfair because he doesn't have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in his prime. So let's be fair here. Malik Willis is under very, 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 very unfair circumstances. No wide receivers, an unproven tight end, a question on defensive line. You have Achane. That's the only thing you have, basically. So it's unfair. And a offensive coordinator, which basically we still know if it's gonna work or not, because he was firing Houston, so he's still improving to so many facets of the game. So it's rough. It's rough for Malik. It's unfair for Malik. That's the bottom line. But those things happen. So we have to wait and see, and we're gonna have to find out if he's the guy or not. So he has to be number one on the scale who's more pressure by far. But I'm pretty sure he's up to the challenge. We'll have to see if it works or not.
It's a good point. And first off, shout out to T. Lee. Appreciate T. Lee jumping in here. Yo to you. Appreciate you. Adrian says Taker is in the house. Taker has taken over Sammy's house right now.
Oh, yeah. If the power doesn't come here, I'm gonna be rest in peace for the next, in the next 5 or 10 minutes.
It's okay. It's all right. But no, the thing is too, right? People may go, Malik Willis being, facing any sort of pressure this year. He's just coming into a mess. And you're right. He doesn't have Tyreek Hill. He doesn't have the Jalen Waddle. Waddle actually got voted like 25th best receiver or something recently, which tells you what kind of the league thinks of him. But still, no doubt, Tua had a lot of weapons to make a lot of noise, where you can't say that the same thing for Malik Willis. However, that's, to me, that kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off because you don't have that Tyreek Hill. You got Tutu Atwell. You don't have Jalen Waddle. You have Malik Washington. You got Jalen Tolbert. You got a couple rookies. So, for me, it's not more about, throwing and what can you do? Like, if I want to see escaping the plays, extending the plays. I want to see control of the offense. I want to see that when maybe the Dolphins are down, they're still like, hey, in our head, we're like, we still have an opportunity. Like, to be real, when we were down last year and Tua would come on the field, especially the way he had been playing that past season, there was no real hope. Like, you kind of cringed every time he took a hit, every time he had to run out of the pocket or throw a ball. And even, there goes the interception and there's the game. With Malik Willis, what I'm watching for is the control of the offense. How soon does he figure out the offense, especially that he's coming with a team, with a regime that knows him well enough to get the best out of him? When he doesn't make a play, we know he can make the run. I'm not saying he has to be Superman, but how his intelligence into escaping a play and protecting his body at the same time, his heart, and does he get the most out of his players? Does he make Tutu Atwell a superstar? Can he do that? Now, if he does it, that's okay. But, does he make chicken salad out of chicken shit? That's what I'm looking at with Malik Willis. And then again, progression. If he has a bad game in week 1, week 2, week 3, whatever, week 4, let's see what he does. Week 2, if he's bad game week 1, how do you recover in week 2? How do you respond? You throw a pick in the first drive, come in the second drive, and let me see if you forgot it. Unless we see in your head. If you can't answer those questions, then you're not the franchise guy. You're our future backup guy, long-term backup until, of course, you Miami moves on and you leave. Now moving on, let's talk about a guy that we both love and we think is was deserving of the deal and everything else, but a guy who could be facing a lot of pressure, and that's De'Von Achane. He got his contract. How many guys have said? How many Dolphin fans have said, I don't believe in a running back getting a second deal, or a lot of our friends, a lot of part of the family here at FTSN. There's a few of them who are saying he's a mid running back. He's not top 5. He's not top 10, even though he was voted top 10, top 5 around executives and by his peers. Top 8 was the last one I saw. So the league recognizes the talent of De'Von Achane. He got his deal. He's getting the recognition. And the new regime has said, we're going to be run heavy. We're going to be running this ball. Their first pick was a pick not only to secure the offensive line, but to also show that, hey, we're going to be dedicated to be running the ball and being physical. This is one of the most explosive players in the NFL. And right now, whether he likes it or not, I'm sure he does, the face of the franchise until Malik Willis probably steps up and takes it. But after he's gotten his deal, after he's gotten his recognition, now's the time. Now's not the time. No matter what the expectations are on the season, no matter what we believe this team's going to be or not be, this is not the time to be a 500-yard back and, be lackluster and, rush for over an average of 2 yards and fumbling the ball and only having 6 touchdowns or 5 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns. No, this is the year to show hey, I was worth the money. I am the guy. I'm the star and face of this football team. So as much as I love De'Von Achane, he does have a lot of pressure going into this year. Right or wrong, Sammy?
Absolutely. And, the bottom line is he got paid, of course. Every time what happened the last couple of years when someone gets paid the year after? Even Zach Sealer, we're going to go talk about later in the honorable mentions. He took, of course, a lot of young players. He had a lot of responsibilities. But every single player that the Dolphins paid the last couple of years, maybe not Waddle completely, but everybody else, Ramsey, Tyreek, Tua, every single one of them after the year they got paid, they did. So It's a different regime. It's a different story with Achane, of course. But, it's there. Now he's getting paid. I might have a couple of minutes or two, maybe a minute. So, but I'm gonna go back on the phone. So that's the problem. Now he's gonna pay. He averaged over 5 yards last year with an okay offensive line, but now with no wide receivers, we have to wait and see if he can basically put that kind of production again this year. So the pressure is on. He got paid. He's gonna be there. He's the Dolphins MVP for sure, no doubt about it. He's the most important player the Dolphins have. So the pressure is there just by default because he's the most important player on this team right now because he's the most valuable player of this team. So the pressure is there. We have to wait and see. He has to perform as good as he's done the last couple of years or even more because this year is getting paid. So we have to wait and see.
That's right. Hog Dog. What's up, Hog Dog? De'Von Achane and Ollie Gordon, same backfield. Achane splits out. Defense is in trouble. Hey, no doubt. And Ollie's a part of that. Ollie, we're going to discuss. And in just a minute, or in just a couple seconds, we're probably going to lose Sammy because Sammy's lost power.
Yes,
so
Ben.
But we're just waiting it out. So you'll see Sammy drop off, and then he'll pop back in via phone. But that's life. That's what happens when you're live.
I'm going to do like Alex. I'm going to go to the backyard.
Yeah, that's right. Kadyn Proctor, offensive line. Some guys facing some pressure this year. A guy who's not on this list, though, I want to talk about. One who's not on this list is Jonas Savaiinaea. But that's a guy for me who I think is facing the most pressure on this offensive line. We'll get the Proctor, who's our first-round pick. We'll get the Patrick Paul. We'll get the Austin Jackson. But Salvanea, I believe, is probably the one on the offensive line facing the most pressure because he's getting the most heat from the fan base as we have now officially lost Sammy. So pop him off the screen there and wait for him to jump on. But, Salvanea is a guy who, again, I believed in coming into the NFL, watched his film. I love what I saw, but believed he should be on the right side of the offensive line. McDaniel and company believed he should have been on the left side. So they put him on the left side. They left him on the left side, and he struggled. There were some bright spots, but not a lot. And, a lot more bad ones than there were good ones, which a lot of people are like, oh, he's a bust, because we have to label these guys a bust after their first year. We can't give them the benefit of the doubt, especially when their coach and their whole freaking team's a joke. But he's going to be moved to the right side this year. I think that's great. I've heard nothing but good things. I've seen nothing but good things from reading and everything about him being on the right side of the line. He's facing a lot of pressure, not only just through social media, but on his performance, but also from the back end. The Miami Dolphins have stacked their depth in regards of guys who can compete for starting spots. So during the preseason, the pressure's on. Training camp, pressure's on. He's going to be facing it where, if he does not show any sort of promise in training camp or in preseason, he could easily find himself as a backup. And if he gets the starting spot and he shits the bed during the season, this is a guy who's going to be probably 1 and done, 2 and done, whatever. So for me, Salvanea out of the offensive line is going to face the most pressure. Do I still believe he could be a good offensive lineman? Do I think he'd be a very good guard? 100% I do. 100%. Absolutely do. I don't blame him for the Dolphins last year or to me, he was a product of what the Dolphins were. But it's up to him now to prove that he wasn't, to prove that he could be a quality offensive lineman. Cat and Hat, what's going on, my man? Appreciate you. 305 Sports, what's up, my brother? Great to see you, my man. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes. Yes, FTSN, man. I love this shirt. Adrian, it's over for him. If he fails this year, have to see development this year. No. Right on. He has to. We have to see something out of him. Right? And again, even if it's just development, even if it's just progress, not if he's oh, he's a stud guard, Pro Bowl. Oh, that's great, right? We'd love to see freaking Pro Bowl. We'd love to see all elite, all that whatnot. But even if not, what I would love to see is progress. I want to see man, you know what? He was way better than he was last year, man. I love the way he controlled that right side. He still needs to do better this way, that way. But we saw progress. So, but if there's no progress, if we're seeing regression or more of the same, bounce. There's no loyal, come on. This is business. This is a business. Okay? This is what's best for the Miami Dolphins. If you're not going to perform for the best of the Miami Dolphins, then hey, wish you luck. Jonah played out of position in different scheme as a rookie. Dumb to say 100%. I agree with you. Hog Dog. And that's why, again, even though I do believe he's facing the most pressure because now they moved him into the right position. He's in the correct position. But, we expect growth now. We expect to see what he can do. Expect to see he could be a reliable guard going into the future of this football team. That Miami doesn't have to spend more of his assets to try to figure that position out, that he could be that guy. Because I'm with you. They should have played him in the right spot. But what can you expect of that coaching staff and so forth? Oh, Sammy's back. Sammy!
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, perfectly. Yes, actually, yes, very, very well.
All right. Did you get power back on, or you just?
Nah, I'm not getting power account. We're powered through.
We'll see.
Let's see, because now I miss you. I lost you.
Now,
Again, so.
you're gone. Now you're gone. I hear you.
No, but I'm back.
I hear you. There you go.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm here.
Will says 305 Sports Now in the house. Guys, go subscribe. If you love Canes, you love Miami sports, go check out 305 Sports Now. I expect more out of him. This team is built to be physical. We all do. We all expect more. Of course, and then talking Miami sports, talking about wrestling. You got to go check out the Rainy Day podcast, 2 Raw for SmackDown. Adrian does it all awesome as well. Cat and Hat says they say that, but we won't be. Oh, well, there you go. There you go. And they say they will be more physical, but they won't be. But we'll see. Again, not the same Dolphins. People who say, oh, it's going to be the same old Dolphins. You got the same old. No, we don't. Don't have the same coach. Don't have the same GM. Don't have the same people running it. But we have still Stephen Ross, Dan Silman. He's the one who's taking it. That's the new owner in this, whatever it is. So it's not the same Dolphins. There's a new regime. There's a new footprint. But Sammy, I've said plenty on Savannah, but love to get your take on Savannah and the pressure he faces this season as he gets an opportunity to start in his natural position at right guard for the Miami Dolphins.
Again, another of those players the Dolphins invested in the draft to move up to get. So not only basically you're getting the second round pick that you invested in, you invested additional picks to move up to get him. So that malpractice was one of the things that basically buried Chris Greer in this team. So Savannah, so many people said that he should have been playing the right guy spot from the beginning. People didn't understand why he was playing left guard when basically that wasn't his size. So, well, he's going to have an opportunity this year, to basically prove himself in the right side of the line. So, it's early. A lot of fans do not believe in him anymore. He's the new Liam Eichenberg. Ugh. But he's going to have an opportunity this year to prove himself. So, it's early. So, we have to wait and see again. It's one of those players we had still. The jury is out. We have to wait a little bit more to know what's going to happen Saturday.
No, it's fair and it's true. We just have to wait. And again, I'm not saying he has to be, I loved it, but I'm not saying he has to be all elite pro guard. Yeah, it doesn't have to be all of that. What I am saying though is that what I loved, I think Adrian said it there, is just progress. We need to see growth. We need to see him. Where we're like, okay, we're good there. He showed some growth in year 2. We're okay with year 3, waiting in year 3. Hog Dog says we didn't know Sammy creates electricity. Wow, magic. Got you, Cat and Hat. I got you, my man. Run heavy, got you. But let's go. Let's talk about our rookie left guard right now, at least, Kadyn Proctor. I should have wore my offensive line girth shirt. I should have threw that on today, but that's okay. We'll wear it another day. But Kadyn Proctor, a lot of people, again, and a lot of these kids and a lot of these players get a lot of freaking hate because fans go into the draft, whatever, with expectations, and Miami does something else, and oh my God, it's the same Dolphins. They're
every single time.
Should have hired me. Damn it, the freaking idiots. A lot of fans had high hopes for Ruben Bain and other guys, but Miami turns around and takes Kadyn Proctor out of Alabama, big body girth, the girthy offensive lineman out of Roll Tide. This guy, because of where he was drafted, because of the praise he got from around the league, not really more so the fan base, but from around the league, comes into this season with so much expectations because of the investment Miami made in him. And he is going to play left guard. He'll be playing between Aaron Burr and Patrick Paul, who, and this is a guy that they expect who's going to be the starter because there's no other guy who should start over him. There should be no conversation during training camp, Sammy, that you and I are having, or anybody in any channel in any world should say, hey, I think so-and-so should start over Kadyn Proctor.
Yeah.
Man, Kadyn Proctor should not be starting coming this season. No, we should be going in here, okay, Kadyn Proctor is locked in at left guard. Not because it's just the way it should be, and you drafted him first round, it's locked in, he has to be that. No, because he's playing like it. And during the season, what we want to see is that he's, again, he's a rookie. If he plays amazing, great. if he plays up to the first round pick, awesome. But I want to see a guy who's like, hey, this guy has a future in this league. This is a guy who could be, who does better than Savannah at left guard. That's his benchmark. He was better than Savannah. He has a future. Like, we're not questioning this guy next year, that he could be outside the team or the league. So even though it's his first, he's a rookie, there's a lot of pressure on him, man. Right or wrong?
Absolutely. From day one, from the as soon as his name came up as the Dolphins pick, the pressure was there because again, fans wanted Ruben Bain, fans wanted the safety from Ohio State. So, it is what it is. You come up with the pressure as a first round pick, and for this franchise, the first young Eric Sullivan pick by himself carries a lot of pressure. He's putting his name, he's putting his reputation as a first pick of him being the Dolphins general manager. So that pressure is there. The bar is not set that high. If you're better than Savannah, you're gonna be considered at least, adequate. But that's not enough. He has to perform. He has to be worth of saying the guy was a first round pick. Hopefully that's not gonna be his permanent side of the ball. Hopefully by next year he's gonna be the right tackle. And we have to wait and see because this franchise does crazy things. He ends up being the left tackle. So hopefully, they can keep eventually Patrick Paul and him, and we have great bookings for the next, 10 years, hopefully. But, he has to perform. As a first-round pick, as the first pick of John Eric Sullivan, as the guy, Dolphins fans were basically frustrated, clamoring that should not have been the pick. The pressure is there just because there's so many factors. But I expect him to succeed. I think he's going to be a very, very good first-round pick. I expect him, the Dolphins to be better side with him at the end of the day. And the Dolphins actually need this offensive line to work. They need this plan to work to have a fighting chance to win, I don't know, as many games as they can because I'm not going to go back to the number I have in mind. So we have, again, one of those stories that the jury's out. He's a rookie, but, the pressure is there for him and for Jordan Sullivan because that's his pick.
Yeah. Next one we got here is a guy that many around, I know Dolphin fans love. First off, grade A human being, awesome dude. Had a chance to meet him. My son met him. He's great all around. He's a great representation of Miami's with the Dolphins and etc. And he plays great. He's done great on the field. But he's the most pressure because again, the league is watching now. The league has taken notice. Yeah. John Eric Sullivan listed him as one of the 4 pillars of this organization and or 4 pillars of building blocks, and he said how to build the foundation of this football team. De'Von Achane, Patrick Paul, Jordan Brooks, and Aaron Brewer. So Patrick Paul, right here, I have something here with from ESPN. Bill Barnwell says he believes that Patrick Paul is going to be one of the best building blocks for Miami going forward in this quote-unquote rebuild. He says Paul's probably this team's best building block at the moment. After serving as a swing tackle in 24, the 24-year-old entered the starting lineup at left tackle at 25 and held his own amid what could be described as a cratering season for Miami. Paul would occasionally get beat around the edge, but was a solid pass blocker and impactful as a mobile run blocker in Mike McDaniel's run game. If he takes another step forward in 26, Paul could be a real shiny spot for the Dolphins. That's from ESPN's Bill Barnwell. Not wrong. And he brings up a great point. He was a shining spot in what was a disastrous season for the Miami Dolphins. Yes. I kind of give a little bit of a pass to Chop Robinson and Savannah and guys who struggled, especially the young guys, because they were playing for a team that was run bad, that was coached bad, that had bad leaders on the roster. So it's like, it's tough. But what that says for guys like Patrick Paul, who played his, some of his best ball and showed growth and progress and everything you want to see out of a young tackle. That tells you a guy that you want on your football team. That's why, again, John Eric Sullivan and Halfley love him. That's why, again, the national media, the National Football League has taken notice. So in a good way, but also a scary way for him. He is on a lot of pressure this year because if the league is taking notice and the league is watching him, and eventually he's going to have to come into he's going to start talking contract. If he comes into this season and wets the bed and takes a giant step backwards, Miami, Kadyn Proctor could be moved to left tackle, and then Patrick Paul moves to right tackle, and eventually out the door, possibly. Sammy?
And one more thing. When you look at the schedule, look at the competition the Dolphins are going to be playing this year. The level of competition is huge. So franchises with good defenses, franchise with very good offenses, and the pressure is going to be on this offensive line to protect the quarterback, to perform the running game. Look at the schedule. They have basically every one of those good teams, and the Bills, of course, are always tough, and the Patriots in their own divisions are always tough. So they're going to rely on the protection that And now he's truly for the first time the blind side of the quarterback, because of course when Tua being a lefty, the blind side used to be the right side. So now he's going to feel that pressure. They're going to come this way. It's going to come his way, the pressure of being the blind side protector for Malik Willis. So the Bears has to step even higher this year for him to be successful. I truly believe in the guy. He took a huge step. The reports are that the guy prepares, he studies other left tackles, he does his due diligence, and he's gonna keep growing. So he's under pressure because of the fact of the competition. He's under pressure because it's gonna be the blind side protection for the first time in his career full time with Tua not being here. So he needs to take the next step. The pressure is there for him to take that next step and be the player that he can be, and be a Pro Bowl player hopefully for years to come.
Absolutely. Hog Dog says, in my opinion, if Patrick Paul balls out, he's traded for a haul, and Proctor goes to left tackle.
That's what I've been saying a couple of times. The history of the franchise is basically, they have no attachment to him. But left tackles are not easy to come by. You can. Proctor will have to be an awesome player for them to be able to move on from him. So we have to wait and see. It's too early for that. So hopefully we got a couple of good years of awesome bookends, and we'll talk about later after that.
If this was Chris Greer, I'd agree with you. If this was if Patrick Paul was not named one of the 4 pillars by John Eric Sullivan as soon as he got into this organization, as guys that building blocks onto this organization, I'd agree with you. Yeah. Since that's not the case, I absolutely disagree.
Yeah.
Kadyn Proctor was not drafted to, I my belief, again, I could be wrong, but this is my belief. Kadyn Proctor was not drafted to replace Patrick Paul in any kind of scenario. Kadyn Proctor was drafted to pair with Patrick Paul, whether at left guard or right tackle, because Austin Jackson is the guy we need to look at as the guy that's going to be out the door.
Yeah.
You drafted Kadyn Proctor to be your left guard until he's your right tackle. And if Patrick Paul takes a step back, then Patrick Paul's your right tackle and Kadyn Proctor's your left tackle. That's the future. If this was Chris Greer, and again, I think Dolphin fans, and I'm not saying Hog Dog is that one or whatever, but there are a few Dolphin fans that I do believe still think that this is still Chris Greer's Miami Dolphins, Jeff Ireland's Miami Dolphins, or whatever. This is not that. That's not this group.
They cleaned house. Yes, absolutely.
Now, if Patrick Paul, takes a huge step back, but is still valued around the league, and Miami says, you know what, we just don't see a future with this guy. He's not that foundational piece we thought he was, because that's what they call him. They said he's a foundational piece.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think John Eric Sullivan has proved that he doesn't lie, that he's not full of shit that he's not full of crap when he talks. Hey guys, it's been a rough few weeks, give me a second. But what I'm
it's your third one today. I've never heard of you.
I know.
You said to see your third one, the third one, like woohoo! Yeah.
I'm sorry. El Jefe, I guess, is not doing so good. But anyway, in regards of monitoring his language, but what I'm saying is, if this was your dad's, or even our generations, our dads, our grandpas, whatever you want to call it, however long, 20, 30 decades, whatever, 10 decades, Miami Dolphins, and that might be the case, but I don't see that. If Patrick Paul balls out, I see the Miami Dolphins locking him in as the foundational piece. So that way, when they get their quarterback, or if Malik Willis is their guy and they got to keep adding, they've got their pieces. If Patrick Paul wasn't their piece, if it wasn't that guy, we'd see another situation here.
And Bobby, we talked so much about changing the. I think of culture. I think of the Heat, and we talked so many times about the culture, but about the mentality of the Dolphins being a soft team. With that, when offensive line that is physical, that's ready to win in December, in the cold, moving the ball in the pile in short yarders, and that's what you have to do. You have to build that offensive line, and Sullivan went at it from day one. So that should be the goal.
And let's talk about the other offensive tackle here, a longtime Dolphin, Austin Jackson. Again, carries one of the largest salaries for Miami right now in offense.
Great guy, but
struggles to stay healthy, and now does face the most pressure, not just by the lead of the organization, but players around him. Again, we've already said it. If Jackson can't stay healthy, if Jackson underperforms, then Kadyn Proctor in year 2 more likely will be your right tackle.
Yeah.
And Jackson will probably see his way out the door for another contract somewhere else as a backup.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Miami, John Eric Sullivan and Coach Sullivan has made it known. If you cannot live up to their expectations, if you don't play better than the guy behind you, or if you put your team in jeopardy going forward, you will not have a role on this team or on this offense. You'll be a backup. You'll be gone. Competition. Malik Willis, he was signed to a deal that says he's a starter. But if Malik Willis comes into this team and starting the season, or even starts the preseason training camp as a dud and struggles in the first 4 weeks of the season, probably, rather expectations are not. No expectations are not. Hey, Quinn Ewers, suit up. You're going in. The Dolphins are playing to win. Whether we think they can or not, they're playing to win.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not tanking at all. No.
Yeah. If Malik Willis is going to cost you a game or two, or cost you multiple games, and we know that's the case, he's going to be benched. So you better believe that if Austin Jackson, if he's healthy, but he plays not up to par, he's going to be sitting on the bench. And then he'll find his way out the door. To our next guy, Chop Robinson. We've talked a lot about Chop Robinson this offseason on Fin's Talk today.
Yes.
There are a lot of expectations for a non-expectation season for Miami when it regards to Chop Robinson. This is a guy, again, who I'll say right now, again, I know I've disagreed with in regards to some of that situation, but I don't think he did bad in his rookie season. It started slow. He got better. His second year was a disaster, but so was the Miami Dolphins. But his second year, he was a player to me on the field, what it looked like, and some stuff I heard off the field, but especially what it looked like on the field, was a guy that didn't that didn't care. He didn't show progress. He didn't show growth. He didn't show commitment. Was that because of the players around him? Was that because of the leadership he had on the team? Was that because he saw the dysfunction in the organization? Possibly. Who knows? But this year, the potential, what his potential, like, we know what his potential is. That's no longer an escape route. That's no longer an excuse. No longer will you be judged on your potential and little flashes here and there. You have to show up. You're going to have to perform. And sometimes it says here, like, right, we know you're going to need sacks. We're going to need to see something, right? Sammy brings up sacks. But how about this? If you're not going to give us sacks, then pressure the quarterback. Pressure him enough, he throws an interception. Pressure him enough that he runs into the other guy and gets sacked by your coworker, by your teammate. That's what we need to see this season out of Chop Robinson. Show me that you love football. Show me that you want to be here. Show me that you're a part of this, the blueprint of the future. Because you said at the beginning with Patrick Paul, or a little earlier Patrick Paul, but I think that goes more with Chop Robinson than Patrick Paul, because John R. Sullivan said foundational piece when it came Patrick Paul is one of those 4 pieces. So he is kind of tied to him because he said that's a foundational piece. 4 guys he brought up, and those 4 guys are still here. Jordan Brooks, as of right now, is still here until he's not. So until Jordan Brooks is possibly traded, which I hope he's not, but unless he's traded, then we could talk about Patrick Paul being moved. But Chop Robinson was not mentioned in that conversation. So Chop Robinson is a guy who's not attached at all to this regime. He has to earn that. So I think he is absolutely facing a lot of pressure this coming season.
Without a doubt. You hear me, Bobby? You hear me right?
Yeah, I hear you, brother.
Without a doubt, the number 1 player on defense under the most pressure. That should be no debate. Charles Robinson on defense is number 1. On my personal opinion, maybe we could have debate if he should be higher or not. But the bottom line is he's the number 1 player with the most pressure on defense by far. And I've been constant on Chuck Robinson. He's my number 1 question mark. Before we talk about my number 1 question mark on defense. The guy is a number 1 pick. He regressed from year 1, and defensive pass rush is probably the most important key aspect of the Dolphins, because with this secondary, if you cannot pass rush the quarterback and put pressure on the quarterback, like you said, to throw those interceptions, with this secondary, we're dead. We're going to lose every single week, 30 to whatever. Because if we cannot stop the run, that's going to be, we're going to talk about that later. But if you cannot pass the quarterback, your secondary, who's still under question, so many question marks, is going to be even worse. So, you're a first-round pick. You should be the best player in the defense. If you ask me, Chop Robinson by now should have been the best player on this defense. And he's not. Jordan Brooks, of course, is the best one by far.
Yeah.
But the pressure is there. He's entering year 3. He needs to take the next step up. I mean, he doesn't. We have to wait and see what happens, because I don't think John Eric Sullivan being a patient guy. So, if he doesn't pull up the pass rush, the pressure on the quarterback, like you said, that he has to, he might not be here next year.
Kenneth Grant, the guy going into his 2nd year, not his 3rd year. Oh no, is it 3rd year? Am I wrong? 3rd year, I think. I may be crazy. Right? No, you drafted last year. Yeah, second year. Going into his 2nd year. Right? So kind of like Savannah, right? Even though, there's guys who are like, oh, he's a bust. Oh man, he's going, leave it alone. He's in his 2nd year. But this will be the year he has to be, because there's a clear expectation. There's a clear vision. There's a clear game plan and blueprint. There's no, hey, who are we listening to? The coach or this guy? Hey, what's the drama at quarterback? Hey, what's the drama with the star player getting arrested before the game? Oh, what? No, none of that. No, there's a no nonsense, no BS. Come with your and play your best ball. And Kenneth Grant, coming from a school like Michigan, he knows what it is to play at your best. And Kenneth Grant's another good dude, another guy again who I met, who I tell you right now, felt if it was a welcoming greeting, felt real, felt not like we were, no, down to earth. Like it's easy to root for Kenneth Grant. And I will be rooting for Kenneth Grant. I know my son loves Kenneth Grant like he loves Patrick Paul. But you're a first round pick. It should sound off alarms for Kenneth Grant that John X. Sullivan did not mention your name when he got hired. This year, by the end of the season, he should be one of those foundational pieces where you go, he's a building block. He's somebody we're going to build off of. He's a guy we're going to build around. You said Chop Robinson. We would love for Chop Robinson to be Cam Rake 2.0, or just a guy who could be a guy that makes
Jalen Phillips.
Yeah.
Give me Jalen Phillips.
Make a difference. But Hog Dog says Chop has gained girth standing next to Ollie in an interview. He's huge. Oh, I like it. Get the girth. We need some girthy girth. But Kenneth Grant, he's a guy by the end of this season, we should say he's one of our long-term answers at D-line, especially since he's a first-round pick. That's the type of pressure he's facing. I don't put a lot on him for his performance last year or lack of, because what the team was. Despite the record, you look at the record, oh, yeah, they didn't have a good year, but they weren't. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like it was bad. Internally, that team was an ugly team. I'm surprised they won any games. So I don't put a lot on him for last year. But this year, the pressure is on. Sammy?
Bobby, he's under pressure to be falling to the third best defensive tackle taken on that draft, because he figures, is on the ups. Phillips is on the ups. And he's the first pick, the first round pick. He should have been the gold standard of those rookie defensive tackles. And he, last year, that could question who was the best of all three. So he's under pressure of that. So and I don't trust the source, but there's the rumors about him. Yeah, the not giving his all and not caring enough and blah blah blah. The spotlight is gonna be there for sure. It's gonna be there for sure. I don't expect Jeff Hafley, a defensive guy, to come here knowing he's a first round pick and basically give him a pass. He's gonna be under pressure. He's gonna be under pressure from Jeff Hafley. He's gonna be under pressure to perform. So if he doesn't, that's gonna be a huge bust for this franchise. Even though Sullivan and Hafley had nothing to do with it, that's gonna hurt for sure.
Yeah. We have Juju Brents listed here, and
by the way, Bobby, before you go,
yeah,
we're on the upwards. We're gonna get there before the show ends to 500 watching 2 weeks of training camp on all platforms. So like and subscribe to Field Talk Sports Network. In a week like this, but basically nothing's happening, to have go all the way to 500. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for watching the flagship on Fins TV and FTSN.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. Yeah, everybody who's tuning in right now, wherever you're watching from, we thank you. They're watching Fins Talk today, powered by Fins Talk Sports Network, and, of course, Fins TV. Make sure you subscribe to both channels for some awesome, great, can't miss Fins content. We talk about everything, anything. Plus, we got other stuff on FTSN, of course. We got wrestling. We got basketball. We're following the Heat. We got the Marlins. We got baseball. College football is going to be coming back soon with College Blitz. I was just talking to Russ Morgan about that. So we're excited about all that. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. But appreciate the almost 500 people watching live right now. But the cornerback position, more than anything, right? It says Juju Brents here, and it's true. The veteran got some pressure because you should step up in this type of situation, replacing Jalen Ramsey and company and whatever. But I'm going to say, and not like I'd say most pressure to try to keep a job, but I'm going to say, obviously, Chris Johnson, first-round pick. That's a lot of pressure right there. There's no reason for you not to be maybe the starting guy in that spot. There's no reason. There's nobody that should be in that role. You were drafted, especially because there's no veterans really that, there's no Jalen Ramseys or Howards that should take that role. You should come in, step up and play. I'm not saying Pro Bowl. I'm not saying all pro. That would be amazing. But I'm saying good enough that we're saying, okay, we got one of our starting corners. I'd put Chris Johnson at 8 over Juju, even though Juju's the vet. I will also say Jason Marshall out of Florida. Jason Marshall Jr., who's going into his second year.
Yeah.
He's another guy. I want to say pressure. Pressure's there because it's this is a great opportunity because the secondary is one of our weakest units. Experience, productivity, whatever, that you should find a way to get on the field. Okay. You should find a way to make a name on yourself. So these young guys, Jason Marshall, Chris Johnson, step up, show us something. So that way, by the end of this year, Storm Duck, maybe, by the end of this year, we're we got our guys locked in. We're good. What do you think?
Basically, Juju is a representative for all corners. Because we have so many corners, we still don't know for sure who's going to start that secondary. So Juju's a representative for all of them. The problem, of course, with Juju is that he played very, very well at times, but he could not stay healthy. That's one of the reasons he's not with the Colts anymore, and that's one of the reasons he didn't end the season with the Dolphins because they played on playing time because he was hurt. So he's a representative for everybody. We're still looking for who's going to start. And when you see what the national media says about the Dolphins secondary, they have no faith in him. And it's not like I don't have faith in him. We can probably get to good adequate corners by the end of the season. But the problem is that we still don't know who those two are. So Juju hopefully can stay healthy because tall guy, lengthy, runs well, covers well. If he stays healthy, he's going to put the Dolphins on the spot because the Dolphins might have to decide if he want to bring them back on a contract or not. So, and that's the problem if he stays healthy or not. But all corners, all the secondary for the Dolphins should be slotted at number 8 because all under pressure this year.
I agree. Tutu Atwell. Again, the speed we lost with Hill and Waddle, that's not easy to replace. But Atwell could help you with that situation. I mean, when Miami was looking at receivers in the draft and we cut Tyreek, we traded hit Waddle. Oh, we're gonna get 6'4", 6'5" guys. We're done with the smaller guys. That's not in Green Bay's MO. That's not Jared Goff. Then they signed Tutu Atwell. It's like, oh, damn, okay. So, but you get a veteran, you get a guy with speed. Again, it's hard for me to put this on any one wide receiver for pressure.
Yeah.
I think the pressure's on the entire unit.
Exactly.
Because of what you're replacing. Jalen Waddle, which, last year and the year before, wasn't the same team with the same receiving group we knew. Because at one point they were the best receivers in the NFL, the best group in the NFL, led by Tyreek. But it wasn't like that last year. But you're facing this pressure. You got to make Malik Willis look really good and you got to make the most because, hey, Tutu Atwell, Jalen Tolbert, there's no better opportunity to start somewhere and make a name than right here in Miami with the Dolphins. Because there's no, this group is a bunch of guys. There's not one guy who should take your spot. Who you need to earn your spot. But if you legitimately come in this spot and you crap the bed and you don't live up or even play up to your expectations or whatever those are, according to your coaches, you don't deserve to be a starter. Malik Washington, young, showed lots of promise. I think this is a guy who could make a lot of noise next year. I think he's one of those guys that has a potential to be a breakout guy. That's the pressure on him. Hey, man, the pressure is that they didn't think of you in that spot. They didn't go, hey, we have Malik Washington. Let's go draft a couple more receivers, and we'll let him be that veteran guy. No, they went and signed Jalen Tolbert and Tutu Atwell. All right, Malik, here's the pressure. Training camp, preseason, don't let him ignore you. Give him a reason to think about, hey, this guy might need to be our starting receiver at 1. That's the pressure. If not, you're always going to be 2, 3, 4, not even 2, 3, and 4. Maybe off the team because they drafted 3 receivers. And for the rookie receivers, again, the pressure is you got to be better than a bunch of these guys because these guys couldn't do it anywhere else. These guys are not starting caliber guys. So you need, show up and say, hey, I'm going to take the job from the vet. If the vet can't keep the job, if the vet's not playing well enough, take that job. And all 3 of those receivers, those rookie receivers, we talk a lot about Caleb Douglas because he's one of those guys that Dolphin fans are crapping on because he's not the guy they thought he was going to get drafted. They wanted somebody else. Yeah. Guy has speed. He has size. He could shock people. I love Chris Bell's. You know me. Chris Bell was my draft crush before the draft. I was banging the table for him. He was a first-round pick. Should have been a first-round pick. I know what he can do, and I believe he can do it. Pressure's on him to live up to those expectations. Coleman, watch out. Not a lot of people talk enough about Coleman. And now look at the comments. I see girth in there. Yes, girth. Talk about girth, and that's size, brother. We need size on that offensive line. We need that girth. It needs to be thick. Hog Dog says, I love Coleman. He has the yards after catch and has hesitation, stop, and go is elite. Watch out. I'm telling you. I'm gonna tell you, those 3 young receivers we got. I have a suspicion. Happy birthday! I love it, Joe. Welcome to the show. Like and subscribe. This guy gets it. Happy birthday! I love that. I should have wore the Girth shirt. I have a shirt.
And that's a T-shirt. Happy birthday. That's a T-shirt.
That's a T-shirt within itself. But I have a Girth shirt.
Yeah,
It says, I like my Girth. I like my Girth. I like my offensive linemen like I like my banana milkshakes. Girth.
Where's Adrian?
Yeah, Adrian. You know Adrian's not watching. Prick.
He left because we're gonna let that pass by. There's no way. They don't know.
I know you ain't watching, you
He
prick.
was here a bit ago, but he probably left for a while because he would not let that pass.
But your thoughts on the wide receiver group?
And especially on Tutu as well. Tutu has shows. I like him because he's a playmaker. He doesn't get a lot of plays because in Los Angeles you don't get a lot of plays. But the pressure for someone like Tutu, the pressure for someone like Torres is the pressure within. Because by the end of the season, those 3 young guys are gonna be pushing. Those 2. Chris Bell. If Chris Bell finds a way to come back mid-November, and the other 2 rookies find a way to get into the field, those 2 are gonna feel a lot of pressure. Tutu is gonna feel the pressure, and Tolbert is gonna feel the pressure because those young guys are gonna come for those jobs. I'm not saying those 3 rookies, like any of them, are gonna be a Pro Bowl, even though I have a lot of like you, and basically I got that from you because you always had so much faith on Bell. You wanted Bell, so made me focus on him. And now that I know the guy again, like you said, should have been a first-round pick. So those guys are gonna be pushing Tutu out. Well, gonna be pushing Tolbert by the end of the season. So the pressure's from within. If they're performing, if they're having a good season, they might find a way to hold them back and stay the starter for the whole year. If they're not, if they don't, either because the rookies are not good enough or because they're not good enough to hold the rookies, either way the Dolphins is going to be in trouble because the receiver position is one of the worst defenses of the whole team. So hopefully they perform better than expected. But I say every single week I had to go back to that hard knocks where Jeff Island said we had all 3 4s and 5s. We had to find a way 1 2s and 3s. We have a lot of 3s. I'm pretty sure we have. Tolbert could be 3 and Tutu Atwell can be a 3. We have to wait and see. We have to find a number 1 and number 2. That's the key here. If those guys can excel and become basically at least a couple of 2s. I don't mean that there's a preferable way. I mean really number 1 wide receiver, number 2.
And number 10, we have Greg Dulcich, tight end. A lot's been made about him this offseason, the relationship that he's been building with Malik Willis, the chemistry they've been building, what they've shown in minicamp. Again, he's entering the season as probably Miami's, crazy to say, most established receiving tight end, but durability and consistency is something about him. That's a major issue with him. And, to me, this is more of that, until he takes this role and holds on to it, and locks it in, he's a holdover. But this is a guy where, hey, if he remains healthy and if that relationship builds off, the tight end room might shock some people in the NFL, especially with the receiver room being not as star power that used to be. We talk about the Ohio Will Kasmerick that we drafted, the blocking tight end, but also a good receiver. The hot dog underrated room, tight end room. It's going to be our bread and butter block and release. So there you go. Look, man, if Hot Dog's not playing, man. Hot Dog's on the road. Girthquake. Oh my goodness. Do you feel the Girthquake? Hey, Joe, you must say that when you're watching Dolphin football this season. If we see a big run and you see Patrick Power, Kadyn Proctor, a major block, it's not a pancake. Oh, they got pancake. No, brother. They got girthquaked. They hashtag girthquake. I love it.
Girthquake. I love it.
If I had my pen, I'd write it down. I love that. I got a marker here. I'm gonna write girthquake.
You gotta have.
My wife's gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm gonna.
Patent pending.
Fire.
Patent pending. Copyright pending. Those is of course one of those guys that the arrow. Yeah, it's going up. He's always been going up. He came here with no expectation. He performed very, very well. during the season. So the arrow is going up. The pressure needs to keep that arrow going up all the way to being a consistent wide receiver as a tight end, a good enough blocker. So the Dolphins don't have weapons, so the pressure is there to be a weapon. And like Armando Salgado says, who catches balls in the end zone is a tight end. So for the Dolphins to score points, you gotta have to have someone that does this in the end zone trying to score points, blocking and receiving, short yardage and taking advantage. So the power is coming back. Oh yes, the power is back. I went back. Never mind. So we're gonna have to wait and see. But hopefully those arrows keeps going up, and the Dolphins at least a competent number 2 tight end for next season.
Yes. Let me see here. Honorable mentions. Sammy, we got a list here, but you mentioned to me before the show that you had some honorable mentions. Why don't you talk about what your honorable mentions are?
No, because my notes were on my computer, and my computer is down. But basically, Zach Sealer. Zach Sealer, Zach Sealer was one of my guys under pressure. But to be fair to Zach Sealer, with so many rookies in that room, he had to take a lot of. The power is coming back. We'll have to wait and see. But for Zach Sealer to so many rookies in that room, he had to take a lot of responsibility, not only by himself, but making sure the other players perform. So Zach Sealer for me is one of those players that was under pressure last season. He's under pressure this year, but it's understandable for him to take a step back. But one of those guys that again got paid and didn't perform as expected. So the pressure is there because he's in I think basically he's over 30 now, right? So once you get that wrong side of 30, the money is not good enough for the performance. You're out of here. So he's under pressure. So Zach Sealer for me, of course, and 2 guys that are not players, but are gonna be under pressure, and it's gonna be John Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley, just because of the fact that Hafley is a rookie coach. I love something that Dave High said this week. Dave High said, how many times I talked to you about the Dolphins not playing with a full deck because basically so much money is compromised on the cap. He did the numbers, and he came up with 38.6%. The Dolphins are basically working with 38.6% of the available cap. Of 100, not one team is working with 100. You get cuts, you get releases, you get bad contracts. So there's no one team playing with 100. But the Dolphins are basically playing with 38.6% of the total cap. That's a lot less than half.
Yep.
So there's no way that the Dolphins are going to be truly competitive this year when you have so many questions and basically a lot less than half of the salary cap. So those guys for me are not players, but they're gonna have to get creative. They're still holding this team. They need to have. It would be awesome if they can find one more wide receiver, if they can find one more safety, if they can find more depth on defensive line. So Sullivan still has to be in the lookout for that. And Jeff Hafley, as the rookie coach, has to find a way to get this team to play hard and to be better by week 17 and week 18 than they were in week 1. So that's the challenge.
I love it. And I'm with you with Zach Sealer. Just starting off with him again, he was a guy that I talked about as a guy who could be on the hot seat for this organization going into this year. Got that new deal and really took a step back. We know what he's worth. We worth on the field. We know what he's worth as a teammate. We know what he could do as a player. He's one of those guys that makes the plays for you when you think the game is over. So there's the fans who have high expectations from him. He was that guy that we relied upon depended upon to make a play when it needed to be made. But we didn't get that last year. He was a shell of himself, which sucked because he just got that big deal. So, and now with this new organization, he is a guy that's facing a lot of pressure. Jordan Brooks, until he gets that new deal, and even when he does get the new deal, if he gets a new deal, unless he's traded, he's facing pressure because they drafted Jacob Rodriguez. They drafted I'm forgetting his name right now, the other lineman that I like, who's going to be actually playing at safety. But Jordan Brooks, man, this is a guy that fans love. We love. You say he's the best linebacker since Zach Thomas for Miami.
Absolutely. That's my
I want him back on this team. And even before his extension, after his extension, the pressure's on. You're facing the pressure first to get that new deal, so you could stay here and be that guy. You're one of those 4 pillars. But when you get that new deal, you're going to face the pressure to live up to that deal. And as one of the 4 pillars, build the foundation of the culture of this organization. Quinn Ewers, the pressure he's going to face, even though he's not even the starting quarterback or pegged as the starting quarterback. We need to see that progress. We need to see that development. We need to see enough Dolphin fans and the Dolphins that when training camp and preseason starts, when he comes in, they're like, hey, we know that Malik Willis can't do it. We got Quinn Ewers. Or if Malik Willis can do it, but God forbid Malik Willis gets hurt, Quinn Ewers could come in and be our guy. He could be that second guy. That's the pressure on him. The pressure on him is obviously to compete, to show that he could be a starter in this league if he competes against Malik Willis, because Miami didn't believe enough in him. The new organization say, hey, we're going to just give him the keys. No, they said, no, we're going to go after Malik Willis. So it's up to him to show, no, you should have trusted in me. And I could be what Malik Willis was in Green Bay. I could be that leader in the locker room. I could be that leader in the film room, in the live room, where when you watch me behind the scenes, I'm watching film. I'm fucking pushing it in practice. I'm doing it. And if I'm called, if my number's called on game day, I'm playing my best football. Again, we talked about the receivers. I'm looking forward to the kicking competition. The Riley Patterson and Zane Gonzalez. We'll see. But guys, let me ask you. Let's get a comment in here right now. SoFlo Sports Show, yo. Appreciate you,
Bobby. I'm gonna switch. Back to the computer. Okay, so I'm gonna be back.
Okay, go ahead, and we can wrap that up.
Yes,
perfect. So Sammy lost power in Puerto Rico. His house lost power, so he had the pop on his phone. So people are like, "What the hell's going on?" But Lou and Ashley, or Lou in the house. So SoFlo Sports Show. Appreciate you guys popping in here. You guys, Dolphin fans, we got over close to 500 people watching live right now on all platforms. So this is what I want you to do. If you can, please, we'd appreciate it. Obviously, first off, anywhere other than YouTube, come on over to YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit the share the show. Go, hey, who are the most players in the pressure? I want you guys to put in the comments right now, what players do you think? Give me your top 5 players. You don't have to give me 10. You can be number 1. But who's your top 5 players facing the most pressure in this no to low expectation season this year? And then after you're doing that, after the show's a wrap, after you subscribe to FTSN, Fins Talk Sports Network, obviously go to Fins TV and hit that subscription button. Look out for the trailer on the 23rd on your social media. But also subscribe to Fins TV. Then go to the SoFlo Sports Show, because how they're at 800 plus is criminal. They need to be over 1,000. They need to be over 2,000. They need to be over 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. First off, the guest, the commentary, the topics they discuss, but what they offer to South Florida and Dolphin fans and sports fans. Come on, people. Come on now. And they're amazing. Hey, they're family. They're primos. They're my primos. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
mine too.
That alone. Yeah, and they're amazing people. They are the first couple of Dolphins football.
Ooh, yeah, the first couple. Yeah. I'm back. I'm better than ever.
Oh, that's one of my favorite theme songs.
But, yes, mine too.
Yeah, and then of course, you can't say I already said it earlier, but I'm gonna say it again. 305 Sports Now. If you're a Canes fan,
Will Padron, baby. Will Padron.
Go subscribe. Go check him out. But now let us know if you want to in the comments, and even after the show, unless the show's over, let us know what players you think are facing the most pressure this season. Sammy, what's going on Fins TV, my man?
Well, we're back. This Thursday, the next Tuesday, we're going to be back for bonus episodes, because the season premieres not until week 1 for September 8th. We're going to come back where training camp starts. We're going to come back with, probably 1 week. We're going to be back. We're going to take a rest, and maybe we're on the mood to be weekly, but we have to wait and see how things are developing with the Fins TV crew. So we're going to be back. The cinematic trailer you made so much. I made so much fun of. Is next Thursday at 7 p.m. before Fiesta today is gonna be an XO. It's something kind of funny, it's gonna be complicated. You know how I like to do stuff.
Yes,
You are
yes.
there. You are there. Lou and Ashley are there. I did not ask for permission. I say sorry. I don't ask for permission. So everybody's there. Fins Nation, a lot of people from Fins Nation is gonna be there. So we had to wait and see because like I always say, at least we have each other.
That's right. And here you go. Will says from this list, he says Chop and Austin Jackson face intense pressure, but I love Hog Dog's answer. I do, Sammy. The number one person or group under the most pressure are the fans. To be patient and not be so god dang negative and just let us grow.
Hot Dog has great takes. Hot Dogs had been every single week with great takes. But Hot Dog had to say, my brother, that's impossible. That's gonna happen. I used to use the term, and I know this is not politically correct these days. I used to use the term bipolar Dolphins fans because Dolphins fans, polarized. They went from the side to the other. And Steve one day used the term, and so want to correct them on X. And poor Steve. So I knew you never use the term again. But basically, Dolphins fans go to the streams like that. Billy Joel song. They go to the streams. There's no way that this fan base is gonna understand when if they get crushed by the Raiders week 1, and when they're me, I have made a prediction on the record. I'm trying not to say every single week, so I'm going to reserve it to myself. Those who watch FIFA today know what my prediction is. But this fan base has no patience, and I can understand why. Because that's the bottom line. They have no patience. They don't care. They don't care if, this team basically has 38.6% of the cap available, and basically we had to cut to Tyreek, Chubb, traded Waddle because, they don't care. They're not going to care. They're not going to have any patience. It's up to us, to the ones who, kind of have some understanding of why we're there, to basically try to explain to everybody, like, I understand, but this is not the year for that. And there's going to be some fans that basically are going to be rooting for tanking, are going to be rooting for this team to lose every single week. Just let it play out. Just don't do that. Just let it play out. If we lose, we lose. If we win, we win. And at the end of the day, where we're slaughtering the draft, someone's going to fall for us. If we have the correct general manager, it's going to be the right decision. So I understand how a great take. You have great takes. Hopefully you were right. But, this fan base has no patience. This fan base is not going to care. They basically say, Sullivan sucks. If we had taken Ruben Bain, we'd have been better. So just look.
Hey, there you go. Fin fans are incredibly frustrated. It's 305 Sports Now. Will Patron, guys, go subscribe to his channel. Fin fans are incredibly frustrated, especially with poor management and not winning a playoff game since before I had gray hair.
This is basically one of my favorite parts of the show because the last part of the show, those comments are basically, are one of the best comments of the show. So Will is 100% right. Like I said, the fan base is just frustrated. They're tired.
But my thing is this.
Tired.
My thing is this. I don't see. There's no more reasons to be frustrated because guess what? It's not the same old Dolphins anymore. We got a new regime. The Dolphins haven't done a damn thing for fans to have any sort of expectations about winning. Be pissed at the Miami Heat when they fail because they've won championships over and over. They're in the championship game. So when they fall on their face and we're like, what's going on? Hey, you guys got to do something. This is not our expectation. We're used to you guys being in the playoffs. We're used to you guys winning. So what does the Heat fans claim? We got to get it done. What does the Heat do? They go get Giannis Antetokounmpo. They go get Bobby Portis. Guess what? They're in the race for LeBron James. They made a big trade. They did it. That's what they are. Their expectations are championship. Dolphins don't know what the hell their foundation or their culture is. The Marlins started to find something. Look at the Panthers. If the Panthers, they fell off this year, which is okay. Hey, you know what? They had a great historic run for a few seasons. But guess what they did? Are they going to continue to shit the bed this year? No, they went to go get Brady Kachuk. So they continue to get things done. That's our expectation. So if they were crap in the bed, be pissed at them. The Dolphins don't deserve your recognition because they haven't earned it. Don't let them control your emotions because they haven't done a goddamn thing to earn to control your emotions. That's why you go into the season with no expectations. Now, just have the patience to let John Eric Sullivan and Coach Hafley try to figure this out. 2 years down the line, it's the same old thing. Then we have a new reason to be upset because it's not same old Dolphins. It's a new regime doing it wrong. But guess what? I don't think that's the case.
I'll tell you what. I still see a huge difference of the fan that watches not only us on Fins TV and FTSN, the ones who watch podcasts like ours, YouTube shows like ours, X shows like ours, who basically are more into the day-to-day of the team. They know what's happening. To the fan to basically sends a text to WQAM or calls the radio station. Those fans basically some of the comments they read on radio, they blow my mind. So it's not the same when we're here, we get the comments, we get fans that basically know what's happening. Their day-to-day was, they're more reasonable kind of fans. But that's a complete part of the fans base that basically just doesn't understand. So we are the ones who have to deal with that. We're the ones who basically have to, I don't want to use the word educate, but basically, make some sense into everything. Because like you said, this franchise, to have an expectation for this franchise at this point in time, like I said again, with 38.6% of the cap available, it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
There you go. Guys, don't forget, first off, thank you for all watching. You're watching Fins Talk today here on FTSN, powered by Fins Talk Sports Network and Fins TV, sponsored by Caneswear. Talk about Canes. If you're a Canes fan, Miami Hurricanes, who are looking to have an awesome year after they had a great year last year. I think it's going to be even better this year. But Miami Hurricanes, Marlins, Dolphins, most especially, Miami Heat, anything South Florida sports, go check out Caneswear, 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. But if you're anywhere other than South Florida, if you're in Puerto Rico like Sammy, or in Tennessee like myself, or Texas like Steve, or Canada like Evan, go to caneswear.com. First of all, they got some awesome new Canes gear that just came in. I saw these beautiful hats that they just had come in, and you got to go check out caneswear.com and check out Caneswear TV. Brett, Gio, and the crew, Alex Dono writing on the app, the Caneswear app, man, they are freaking killing it. Go check them out. Guys, we appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe, and most importantly, as always, Dolphin fans, fins up. Good night, Mike.